Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thunder Today YouTube channel. I am your host, Dylan Hibbard, and in today's video, we're going to continue a few series that we've been going on. We're going to continue our player prediction series. We're also going to look at the top 5 shooting yards in Oklahoma City Thunder history. We're also going to talk about how single game ticket sales are going on today. So if you are looking for some single game tickets, we'll dive into that. And then we'll also talk about how a recent ranking came out showing that the Thunder have still the number one future in the league overall as a team. But first off, just talking about what to expect from Isaiah Hartenstein in this upcoming 2026 season. He is the final guy in the starting lineup, and then starting tomorrow, we'll kind of dive into the bench guys after that. But first off, just talking about Isaiah Hartenstein, he's in a weird spot this year because he's going to be owed nearly $30 million after this season, and it just feels like unless they somehow rework another deal or something, it feels like this will be the last year of Hartenstein's contract, which kind of sucks because he was such a big part of what we did last year, and if he continues to do well, it's going to be so hard to send him off. But maybe we can get something figured out in that aspect of things, whether it's looking for a new deal where maybe he takes less money, or maybe he just plays so well for us that a team will be willing to give him the same amount of money that we were going to pay him, just he has to go somewhere else because we will not be able to afford him with the second apron and salary cap and stuff like that. But just from the stats standpoint, what to expect from him in this upcoming season, I think you really should expect to see a typical Isaiah Hartenstein season and what we saw this year. You're never going to have the stats, or he's never going to have a game that just, he might have a game, he goes out there and has a 20-10 game and kind of shows off what he can do scoring wise, but you're never going to see anything too crazy from him. You're probably going to get about 10 points, 10 rebounds a night. He's going to be a really good screen setter, and he's going to be a really good passer at that. We've seen him so much with the bench unit when it was Caruso out there, him and Caruso running pick and rolls, and he's just been able to sneak those bounce passes or over the head passes just right between the defenders and get an easy lane for guys like Caruso, Shea, and J-Dub. So he's the type of guy that he's going to do everything right for your team, but it's not always going to show up on the box score. He might have a night where he only scores 4 points, he has 8 rebounds and like 6 assists, but it's one of those games where you're gonna you watch and you're like, he made the big difference right here on this certain play. He made the right pass. He got the certain rebound. Maybe he got a crucial block. But Isaiah Hartenstein, you kind of know what to get out of him this season, and hopefully he can stay healthy. He had that kind of injury towards the beginning of the season last year that kind of set him back a month or two, but I fully expect him to get right back in it, and I think he's going to have a full healthy season. I think he's going to be a big part of what we do, and maybe at some point if he's starting to kind of tail off and you have a Caruso or Wallace that is playing out of their mind, or a Wiggins, maybe you start having Isaiah Hartenstein come off the bench with not a lot of center depth. You move Chet over to the 5 and run somebody out there depending on what your matchups are on certain nights. But now we'll kind of transition into talking and continuing about our series of the top 5 position players at every single position in OKC history. We did point guards yesterday, and now we're going to do shooting guards, which if you actually look at it, the Thunder's shooting guard history is kind of weaker, and it also depends on who you consider a shooting guard. I'm going off of a list that is on a Thunder website. But at offer, they have at number 5 Alex Caruso already jumping into a top 5, and it really just shows how much of an impact Caruso was able to make in this first year and hopefully continue to make in more championship runs for the Thunder. Excuse me. But, I mean, just right there kind of shows you how there's not a lot of shooting guard depth just because the Thunder haven't been around that long either. And at number 4, they had Cephalosha. If a bunch of you young Thunder fans don't know who that is, he was a great defender, great role player that played in the early OKC days from 09 to 14, played with Russ and Katie, and he was the epitome of the role player that the Thunder would use out there. And, I mean, he was just one of those guys that stuck around. He did his role right, and for that, he is number 4 on this list. And at number 3 is Andre Roberson. Roberson was Lou Dort before Lou Dort. He was a defender first, and his offensive game wasn't as strong. We always talk about how Lou Dort has been able to improve. Andre Roberson never really got to that point of improvement on the offensive side of his game, but we always knew he would guard the best perimeter guy out there. He would give that other player hell on the court, and for that, he is ranked as the third best shooting guard in team history. At number 2 is Lou Dort, and some of you might consider Lou Dort a small forward, but with the lineup and how it is these days, I think we consider Lou Dort a shooting guard, and that's why he's at number 2. Just what we all said about Roberson, Lou Dort has just done better. He's a better defender, has been able to improve his offensive game and his three-point shot. And if it wasn't for that stretch of 3 threes against the Nuggets in Game 5, we might not have been in the spot we are, where we're in we have a championship and looking to go back-to-back. So Lou Dort has been a huge part of that. And then obviously at number 1 is James Harden. Some of you might disagree now with Lou Dort. You might have Lou Dort 1 over Harden. But I still think it was James Harden at the end of the day. Won a 6th Man of the Year award with the Thunder. He was a big part of obviously the first big 3 of the Thunder back in 2012. He came off the bench, but he was such a good and crucial 6th man, allowed Russ and KD to kind of relax, and Harden kind of took over in some of those spots. But James Harden's still the first shooting guard that kind of comes to mind when you think of Oklahoma City Thunder history. Maybe if Lou Dort gets an extension and stays around, and maybe he gets another 2 championships, I think without a doubt he would be the best shooting guard in history. But when this video is recording, I still think James Harden is number 1 and Lou Dort is number 2 as the best shooting guards in Oklahoma City Thunder history. But now we'll kind of transition into talking about ticket sales and when those go. The ticket sales for single game tickets go live today, so not your season pass or buying multiple game packages or whatever that be, and this is only for the first half, but single game tickets for the first half, Thunder home games, will be live today. So maybe you want to go look at the schedule. Maybe there's a game you really want to see, that a team that's coming into town, and you want to mark it on your calendar. Starting today, you can go look at those tickets and get it. I know I'm going to be looking at it all day to look for the opening night against the Rockets. I'm hoping I can be there on opening night for the ring ceremony. But there's a bunch of games that you can look at in the first half. It's going to be a battle all year. There's going to be a lot of Western Conference clashes. You're going to have some Cavs, Pacers, and Knicks, just like that. So if you're looking forward to all the tickets and want to go kind of look at what those prices are, as those tickets will go on sale today as of this video going up. But then we'll kind of transition into our final topic, talking about how OKC is still ranked number 1 in the future terms of the team. And it's kind of surprising, but it also makes sense. You have to look at the core of OKC locked up for the next at least half decade. And I was just kind of shocked because it felt like some people now are kind of looking at maybe the Spurs of having the best future in the league. But I still think it's us without a doubt. We're ahead of the Spurs. We already have the championship. We have our core intact, and we know the core works. You don't know what you're going to get from Wembanyama. You're hoping Dylan Harper has an amazing rookie year. You're hoping Stephon Castle takes that second leap into his sophomore year. So that's still a young team, and you still got to hope certain pieces work together. You kind of have to build around that, where I think the Thunder have already established that core. Still, their average age is still around 25, 26, so insanely young. Shea is just now entering his prime. So I think to have the Thunder as number 1 as a team future is the right call on that. But that'll be it for me today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button down below. It helps out the channel so much, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.